Hey guys, this is Gary Lee Stanley, your sales guy. Hey, today we're going to talk about our favorite subject, which is sales. All right, we got a great subject for our sales today, so let's go ahead and dive right on into it. We got a cool little subject, so let's go ahead and give you fist bumps, say howdy. And our subject for today, selling. Are you wasting your selling time? What did he say? I said selling. Are you wasting your selling time? I do a lot of cold calls. That's pretty much my primary bread and butter. I get some leads, but they basically just get me in the area. And they get me in a place sometimes where, they have those gated communities. They have areas and stuff where, I go knock on these people's doors. They may have somebody who answers the door, a nanny. They may have somebody who's, I'm not even sure what they are. I think a lot of times house sitters and whatnot. But when I get out there, it seems like, I've wasted my time. It just sometimes can be kind of agitating and frustrating when the customer's not there and you got to talk to the maid or you got to talk to grandma down the street who's watching the house. The kids are being watched by whatever. It can be kind of frustrating. And the reason why I stress this is that, your time is very valuable. And the more people that you get in front of and you have an opportunity to sell to, there's more opportunity to close more sales. But the question is selling, are you wasting your selling time? I would probably say no. And the reason being is because you're getting out there and you're getting your mojo. You're getting things moving. And they always say when things are moving, then you're moving in a direction to close more sales. You're getting in a direction where you're going to be in front of that customer that you're supposed to run into. But it doesn't always feel that way because remember, guys, this is what they call a numbers game. And like I said, recently I just went to a very exclusive neighborhood. The people hadn't moved in. They were getting ready to move in a couple of weeks. I got a chance to look at their beautiful home, their property and everything. And I'm calculating in my mind, what can I do? So I just put them on my go back list, go back and see them list because they don't know me yet. And they don't know that Gary Lee, your sales guy, has got something to sell. Now you should feel the same way. Sometimes you're going to run the risk of going out to areas where you can't get into, like I mentioned earlier, gated communities, but that's just a part of doing business. Then sometimes, like I said, I work with a lot of blue collar workers, white collar workers, and it's like I get a mix of people who have a tremendous amount of money that I get a chance to go visit with sometime. But it's like, if I don't go out and proceed going to the people's homes, how am I going to sell something? If you don't pick up that heavy phone and call those people, even if you had to call them 2 or 3, 4, 5 times and you finally get through, it's going to be worth it. So for me, I don't believe that I'm wasting my time. But what I do believe is it's a process. Remember, I stressed that it was a numbers game. Sometimes the numbers aren't in my favor. Sometimes they are. I put out literature. I give a little bit of information, and sometimes people will call, but most of the times they don't. So what I've done is I've written a list of people who I haven't seen, and then I have another list of people that maybe I've talked to, but I didn't sell anything, but at least I have a list to go back to them. And I always leave them in a positive way so that way I can interact with them down the road. A lot of people say, well, one and done. And if they don't buy nothing today, that's a done deal. Well, that's okay. Some people, they are like that. And they get more and more. But see, I get leads, and these leads get me into a particular area. So I try to canvass the little neighborhoods also. What I mean by that is I do this thing called clover knocking, where I'm going to a particular customer's house. They may not be there, they may not be interested, but they may have some neighbors that are right around them that may be. And so what I do is just to let them know, I knock on their little door and say, hey, listen, I was out here to help out, blah, blah, and they aren't home or whatever, but I just wanted to bring this information to you so that way you can have the same benefits that they're going to be able to receive. And sometimes you get real fortunate. Remember, it's a numbers game. Sometimes you knock on 1, 2, 3, 4, you might get one. And if you do, that's great because see, what you've done is you didn't waste your time. Remember, our subject for today is selling, and are you wasting your selling time? No. if you are limited to the amount of leads that you get, what do you have to do? You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get out of your car, or you got to pick up that heavy phone and call those people or talk to these people in the community and sell them also what you've got to sell. Because sometimes you may not get a person to talk to because people are working, they're busy, they're retired, they're just all kinds of excuses and reasons why people aren't home, or they're just not interested. So what we have to do is we'll figure out, well, if I have a customer that I'm supposed to see, they're not there, well, what do I do? Remember what I said? You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to start knocking on those doors that are surrounding the area. And then what'll happen is you get fortunate, because it's a numbers game. I've sold a lot of merchandise, probably a lot more by clover knocking or going to other people's houses that I went to go see that weren't there, and I sold them my merchandise. It's just amazing. It works in such a strange way, but it's like, activity breeds activity more. And to see people, you get listen, if you have to schedule your day, try to schedule things in a way where they're close to you and you've got multiple stops, so you're not driving all over town. I just use my GPS a lot because I like to kind of see how many people I can see in a particular neighborhood instead of trying to go all over the place. My name is Gary Lee Stanley, your sales guy. I told you I'd tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, and the warts and all, and the things that make sense about selling, because a lot of times people don't talk about this kind of stuff. And selling, are you wasting your selling time? Here's the thing. Some days are going to be real good. Some days are going to be great. And some days you may not sell anything. But see, if you don't do the momentum, if you don't get out there and knock on them doors, if you don't put out those flyers, if you don't hand out those business cards, if you don't have those short-term conversations, you can't build here's one thing I look at, guys. If I'm practicing my presentation, whether the person buys it or not, I'm not wasting my time. It may feel like it at the time because we're working on commission. We need to make money, but sometimes we need to home in on our skills. Sometimes we need to practice our skills and keep doing it over and over and over again. Because see, what'll happen is eventually somebody's going to run into you and they're going to buy something from you. They're going to want to own something because you've got this charisma, you've got this character, you got this positive attitude, and you're not afraid to ask for the order. You're not afraid to talk to the customer, and so you're never wasting your time. It, like I said, may feel like it. Some days I get a little frustrated. I get a little stressed because, I work on commission, baby. And I want my company to look at me and say, damn, you're doing a real good job. And then some days I'll sell a bunch. And then some days I won't sell anything. But see, I don't believe in my heart that I'm wasting my time because, see, I'm one step closer to that next sell. And if you're one step next to that next sell, you're closer to that next sell. What if you gave up before the miracle? What if you gave up right before you were getting ready to get a sell? You wouldn't feel too good about it if you knew the future. You might go, dang, I wish I would have done that. You ever look back at your past and you looked at your life and you went, man, I wish I would have done this. I would have done that. I would have done this. That's called second guessing yourself. But see, here's the thing. In selling, we don't want to do that. What we want to do is persevere. We want to go to the next customer. Whether those people weren't home that we were trying to communicate with, we always can go back. And you want to write down those lists of people that you didn't get a chance to talk to. You want to also go back and see these people. And sometimes you may have to go out there 4 or 5 times to be able to find these people. But you got to really set it up in a way where that you get the most value for your time. Your value for your time is so very important, guys, because remember, this is a numbers game. What I do is, like I said, if I have leads that I haven't been able to get in touch with, I try to zip code my leads. And you go, what? Zip code my leads? What I try to do is I get a bunch of leads over a bunch of time that maybe I hadn't had a chance to have a conversation with, and I don't want to waste my time. So what I do is I write all those down, and then I GPS and I look at my map, And then I figure out, well, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? And I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I get 7 within a little cluster or area. So that way I have more of a chance to sell more people. Because a lot of times if you have a cluster of a bunch of places to go to, Road Warrior is a good one. I like that one. That's a pretty good program where you can input the different types of places where you want to go, and then you can kind of mark it all out so you don't waste any time. That's a pretty good feature of that particular Road Warrior program. But selling, are you wasting your selling time? If you are out there and you're trying to be in front of customers, you're not wasting your time. What would be wasting your time is if you were going all over the place and you never really got focused and you didn't do any clover knocking, you didn't get a chance to knock on people's doors next door. You'd be wasting your time. Because I'm going to tell you what, leads, they're good. We need them. And they can be very expensive. So don't waste your time and then say to yourself, well, I'm not going to call on these people again. And they'll never buy. Because see, what's happening is if you put a negative in, and the negative will come out. My name is Gary Lee Stanley, your sales guy. I told you I'd tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, and the warts and all when it comes to selling. And our subject for today is selling. Are you wasting your selling time? To me, I'm just giving you suggestions. I'm not trying to, offer my opinions because I'm giving suggestions. A lot of times people, they want to have an avenue and a direction, but a lot of times people, they give them their opinions. I'm giving you just a little bit of, great direction, because the more you learn, the better you'll be and more efficient at your selling. And a lot of times I've had salespeople say, man, I couldn't sell anything today. Man, I felt like I was wasting my time. I didn't talk to anybody, or I did talk to people. These people wouldn't buy. I drove all over the place. I couldn't get to where I needed to go. It was like I couldn't. And see, wasting your time can mess up your mind. And see, what I'm sharing with you is something simple. Selling, are you wasting your selling time? You're not. You have to feed yourself. You have to tell yourself, hey, this one didn't work out. Let me go to the next one. And then you go to the next one, the next one, the next one. Remember, it's always a numbers game. It's not going to happen all in one day. And sometimes you'll run into situations where you get 2 or 3 sales and you're like, dang, I'm the cat's meow. No. All those times that you weren't selling anything, all that time you were failing, you were working on the process. You were doing what you needed to do. You were doing the do, baby. You were setting yourself in motion to close the sale. And it happens that way. Sometimes, man, I've seen it where I've sold 2 or 3, 4 things in one day, and it's like, man, how did that happen? I feel on fire. And then other days I only sold 1, or maybe I didn't sell any, but I wasn't wasting my time. You're not wasting your time. If you didn't get a sale this time, just keep flowing. If you're a brand new salesperson, this happens to everyone. We get a little excited. We sell some stuff. What happened? I didn't sell nothing this week. I don't know what's going on. Nothing. Keep doing the basics. Keep doing the fundamentals. Do your training. And watch these videos. I got a bunch of them. And they'll give you some basic instructions on how to talk to people and have conversations. But the key to success in selling is you're not wasting your time if you're in front of a customer. And if you're knocking on doors or picking up the phone, or if you're going business to business, or if you're just having conversations with your customers, you're not wasting your time. Wasting your time is if you didn't try. Wasting your time is if you didn't go out there and knock on the doors or pick up the heavy phone. Because see, here's the thing. Sometimes when we're out there and we don't sell something, we feel like we can't. There must be something wrong with me. There ain't nothing wrong with you, guys. You're awesome and you're important and you matter. I'm telling myself, Gary Lee, because see, sometimes I felt like also I've wasted my time. But see, here's the thing. When I thought I wasted my time, I had some people call me back because I left a business card. I left a flyer. And I got a phone call from these people a couple of weeks later, a month later. I'm like, dang, I didn't waste my time. So change that mantra. I like myself. Change the mantra from, man, I wasted my time, to I just invested in myself. I just invested in my time. I just invested in the next sell. I just invested in my future, and I'm going to keep going and keep trying. My name is Gary Lee Stanley. We just had a really great conversation about selling. Are you wasting your selling time? No, you're not. Now, you got the answer, so go out there and sell something. But if you ain't asking for the order, you ain't selling. Selling. Are you wasting your selling time? Only if you don't try. And you're trying. You're going to be awesome. So go out there and sell something. And remember, selling and just doing the next right thing will get you closer to the next sale. So go out there and sell something. All right.